When my roommate Luke came back, he seemed a bit hesitant. David, I just saw your girlfriend having dinner with another guy. They seemed quite intimate. Hearing this, I was stunned for a moment and then nodded calmly. Yeah, got it. Aren't you angry? No, because I broke up with her yesterday. Luke was shocked. No, since you just proposed to break up rather than have already broken up, what's the deal with her having an affair with another guy right away? Could it be that you've been cuckolded? I said in a calm tone. I don't think so. Luke was immediately furious. This doesn't count? It's a seamless transition. It's no different from cuckolding you. You're the belle of our Academy of Fine Arts, and she dares to treat you like this. Let me go and teach her a lesson for you. No need. I really don't mind. After all, it's still because I couldn't accompany her. As I said that, I gave Luke a faint smile. I really didn't mind this matter too much, because Lily and I had only been dating for less than a week. My teacher used to always say that although my paintings showed great talent and superb, they were increasingly lacking in soul. If I were to participate in the competition with such a dry level of painting, I would end up with a terrible result. So he advised me to have a relationship to let myself go. Coincidentally, Lily from the same major was pursuing me, so I decided to give it a try with her. As a result, during this process, I couldn't provide emotional support to Lily. Due to the heavy academic workload, I couldn't accompany her to watch movies or go to various get-togethers with her girlfriends to have fun. I felt nothing, not even the slightest flutter in my heart. The paintings I created still lacked emotion, and I was completely stuck in a bottleneck. So I proposed to break up with her yesterday. I didn't want to waste her time. For some reason, Lily didn't agree and even got angry. So when I found out she was dating another guy, I was just a bit surprised, not very angry. After all, it's reasonable for her to find an alternative in advance. Looking at the indignant Luke, I took the initiative to speak. Thank you for your concern. Let me treat you to a meal. Seeing that I really didn't care, Luke didn't say much either and quickly went to change his clothes and went to the cafeteria with me for a meal. Just as I was going out of the dormitory, I seemed to remember something and casually asked, "Is the guy having a meal with my ex-girlfriend from our Academy of Fine Arts?" Luke replied to me, "No, he's Samuel from the School of Computer Science. He's just a freshman. He's also very handsome, comes from a wealthy family, and is as good looking as a male celebrity. The girls all say he's the campus heartthrob." I nodded and kept walking. When Luke and I arrived at the rice noodle shop in the school canteen, there were a lot of people. It was difficult for us to find a seat. Just as the rice noodles were served, I felt someone sit down across from me. The person smelled nice, like the base note of some expensive perfume. The person also had long legs, which occasionally rubbed against me. Thinking it was a student who came to share the table because of the crowdedness, I ignored it and politely moved my legs back a bit. Then I continued to drink the soup without looking up. It smelled delicious but was also very hot, so I could only take small sips. At this time, Luke suddenly swore. I was startled by his shout. The spoon went straight into my mouth and the hot soup scalded my tongue. Just as I was about to let out a hiss of pain, a bottle of mineral water suddenly appeared in front of me. I looked up blankly and my eyes fell into a pair of dark and beautiful eyes. The owner of the eyes was smiling at me lazily, looking like a male fox spirit. "Senior, drinking some ice water will make the pain less severe." Before I could react, Luke beside me stammered and interjected. "Samuel?" My eyelid twitched. "Oh, it's that handsome junior from the School of Computer Science. Is he the other boyfriend of my girlfriend?" I took another look at him. Well, he really looks like he won the genetic lottery. Moving my still aching tongue, I didn't make things difficult for myself and quickly took the water and gulped down 2 mouthfuls. The ice water quickly dulled the stinging pain in my mouth. I tightened the bottle cap and politely thanked him. "Thank you. I'll buy you a bottle of the same water." Samuel just gave a lazy smile. "Senior, I don't need the water. Just transfer 2 yuan to me directly." As he said that, he showed me his phone screen. Well, that's okay too. I took out my phone and prepared to scan his payment code. As a result, when I scanned it, what came up was the friend adding interface. Meanwhile, Samuel said calmly, "Senior, actually I'm more used to transferring money through adding friends. So let's add each other as friends first." I added Samuel as a friend and transferred the money for the water directly. But he didn't accept it right away. Instead, he just sat across from me and stared at me. His gaze moved from the corner of my eye to the tip of my nose and finally landed on my lips that were burned red. It was flirtatious but not overstepping the mark. But his presence was extremely strong. After quietly finishing the last bite of the rice noodles, I politely nodded at him and then got up and left directly with Luke. On the way, Luke couldn't hold it in anymore and said indignantly, David, I think that Samuel must have some bad intentions. First, he tried to steal your love interest and now he's showing up in front of you. Could he be deliberately coming to show off and provoke you? I shook my head. That's not likely. Because I felt that there was no malice in Samuel's eyes when he looked at me, but there was a kind of inexplicable meaning that I couldn't quite figure out. Although I was puzzled, I didn't think too much about it. I just thought that Samuel's face really suited my taste. He has a textbook perfect golden ratio of the human face, a high nose bridge extending from his brow bone, with a perfect curve and a three-dimensional contour. One can imagine that his figure should also be good. It would be great if he could be my sketch model. It would make a very good human body painting. I indulged in wild and random thoughts for a moment, then forgot this little episode. But until evening, Samuel still didn't accept my transfer. Instead, he casually liked the advertisement I posted on my WeChat Moments. I directly sent him a private message. Don't you accept the money? The other side replied instantly, Senior, aren't you going to sleep yet? I've just been working on my assignment for a while. Can I have a look? Why does this Samuel seem a bit overly familiar for no reason? I politely declined. It's not very convenient. It's a competition entry and can't be disclosed. Please accept the money. Good night. After saying that, I turned off my phone and went to bed on time, regardless of what he replied. As a result, when I woke up the next day, I found that Samuel still hadn't accepted the money. Instead, he sent me an emoji. It's so cute that it's in great contradiction with his scumbag-like face, yet there's a bit of a strange harmony. I frowned and ignored him. After a while, I silently saved this emoji. It's really cute. I didn't take this encounter with Samuel to heart. Luke was afraid that I'd be in a bad mood after a breakup, so one night he dragged me to the astronomy club's orientation event. Just then, I'd been painting all day, feeling a bit gloomy, and had been scolded by the teacher for my lack of progress. So I went along to relax. After politely declining several junior girls' requests to add me as a WeChat friend, I sat in a corner daydreaming. I continued to conceive my competition entry in my mind and waited for the food to be served. After a short while, someone suddenly sat down in the empty seat beside me. The bass note of a certain pleasant perfume made me pause for a moment, then I turned my head. I saw Samuel sitting beside me, looking at me with a gentle smile and his head tilted, his eyes as bright as dots of ink. Senior, what a coincidence. He's only a freshman and quite young. Somehow, he sounds a bit like he's coquettishly pouting when he talks. For some reason, I thought of the cute emoji he sent. I nodded, withdrew my gaze, and continued to sit there in a daze with my head down. After all, the relationship between us is a bit awkward right now and there's not much to talk about. If it were someone else, they'd probably be at each other's throats by now. But there's a strange sense of calm between us. Samuel wasn't annoyed when I ignored him. He just sat beside me and chatted merrily with others. He's the center of attention and very popular. It's quite normal for Lily to like him. Thinking of my girlfriend, I took out my phone to ask if she was still angry and how she was thinking about the breakup. How's your consideration about the breakup we talked about before? Still, there was no reply after I sent the message. This is my first relationship and my first breakup. I can't help but feel a bit at a loss. Should I compensate her somehow? Suddenly, Samuel's phone on the table beside me rang. I was attracted by the sound and glanced over subconsciously. Caller ID, Lily. My girlfriend ignored me but called another guy. Samuel answered the phone. Lily's coquettish voice immediately came out of the receiver. Samuel, what are you doing? Having a party. Oh, then do you have time to come to the basketball court? What's the matter? I have something to tell you, something very important about my feelings for you. I don't know if it's because his phone is the latest model, but I could clearly hear all these coquettish words. Samuel glanced at me and slowly said, Senior sister, didn't you show off in public yesterday that David is crazy about you? It made us so envious. Lily complained. What's there to envy? He's been pestering me. It's so annoying. If it weren't for his good looks, with his boring personality, I would have dumped him long ago. But don't worry. My heart is no longer with him. You know that, Junior. So, can you come to the basketball court later? Samuel gave a soft sneer. I can't go. Find someone else, because I also have a boring personality. After saying that, he mercilessly hung up the phone. I lowered my eyes, with a myriad of emotions in my heart. I thought Lily was gentle and sensible, but it turns out she thinks of me like this behind my back. Moreover, She uses me as a tool to show off and plays both me and Samuel off against each other. She doesn't want to let go of me in the bowl and also has her eyes on Samuel in the pot. People these days really know how to seek excitement. Senior, why are you suddenly in a bad mood? Samuel put his phone on silent mode and spoke in a very concerned tone. I lowered my head and took a sip of water. Instead of answering, I asked a question, too lazy to pretend, and decided to come clean. Are you together with Lily? No, I don't like her. I was a bit puzzled. Then why are you so close to her? I didn't talk to her much. You heard me just now. Didn't you, Senior? Moreover, with a girlfriend like yours, don't you want to break up? Samuel raised his eyebrows, looking half smiling. He says he didn't overstep the line, but then he advises me to break up. Maybe I'm just not worldly wise. I really can't understand his inexplicable behavior. Fortunately, the food was served soon, so I didn't say much to him. It's best that he's not with Lily. At least I'm not wearing too much of a green hat. Before the party ended, I left early and went back to the dormitory to paint. Just as I was leaving, I always felt that Samuel never took his eyes off my back. The eagerness was like that of a hunter with ulterior motives towards me, and I was some clumsy prey. I didn't stop walking but frowned. Samuel is a bit strange. It's better to stay away from him. After returning to the dormitory, I went straight to the small balcony to call Lily. I called again when the first call wasn't answered, and finally got through. Oh, David. I've been busy these 2 days and didn't see your calls. Mainly, I'm still angry. You don't even know how to comfort me. Humph. I'm too lazy to expose her clumsy lies. Sorry. Let's break up. Lily immediately burst into tears. David, I don't want to break up. Don't you like me anymore? Sorry. It's my own personality problem. I can't give you the feeling of love and the companionship you want. You can find someone else. I sincerely apologized, but my attitude was also firm. Seeing that I was determined to break up, Lily cried even more softly. I just listened quietly without comforting or saying a word. Then can we break up at the end of this week? You haven't accompanied me before, so accompany me to have fun for 2 days this weekend. Just 2 days. We'll officially break up after that. I thought for a while and agreed. Okay. It's just right for me to go out for inspiration, which is beneficial to my creation. Out of guilt and courtesy, I paid for all the travel expenses directly and specially booked 2 hotel rooms. I originally thought that I could be single again after this trip, but unexpectedly, something went wrong on the day we were supposed to leave. Because Samuel came along. Lily stood beside him, pleading with a pitiful look. David, Samuel also wants to go out and have fun. Let's take him with us. It'll be more interesting to have an extra companion on the way. And Samuel gave me a lazy smile. Senior, you don't mind, do you? I calmly glanced over Lily, who was shy and uneasy, and finally my gaze met Samuel's dark eyes. For a moment, I felt rather exhausted. Didn't he say he didn't like Lily? What does it mean that he's tagging along on this trip so eagerly now? Since the tourist destination is in the neighboring city and not far away, it's more convenient to take the train. After the train started moving, Lily sat between me and Samuel. The two of them were chatting and laughing. I didn't feel like joining in, so I just closed my eyes and took a light nap, letting them do as they pleased while I continued to think about my competition work in my head. Soul? How can I infuse my work with soul? Lost in these thoughts, I fell asleep. When I was woken up by the train's announcement, I found myself resting my head on Samuel's shoulder, and he was looking down at me. I don't know how long he had been looking. Even from this awkward angle, the contours of his face were still flawless. Senior, you're awake. We'll be at the station soon. Get ready to get off the train. Senior's sister has gone to the toilet. Let's pack up our things first. I sat up straight, put some distance between him and me, and rubbed my face in a daze. Yes, thank you. I stood up and picked up my bag. By the way, I wanted to pick up Lily's too. Senior, let me carry it for you. No need. It doesn't matter. I don't have many things, so I can just help carry the senior sister's things. You don't have to strain yourself. Regardless of whether he wanted to show off in front of Lily, I was happy to be a hands-off manager. I handed the bag directly to him and turned around to leave. Samuel was probably amused by my cold-hearted attitude and let out a soft laugh. It made my eardrums tingle. I rubbed my ear that had been pressed and turned red and kept walking. How could I have slept on someone's shoulder? It's so shameless. On the way to the hotel, the two of them still talked and laughed merrily while I was sleepy and listless. I only wanted to take a rest after getting to the hotel. As a result, when we went to the hotel to check in, I unexpectedly learned a tricky situation. Samuel hadn't booked a room here. It's too late to make a reservation now because almost all the rooms are occupied during the May Day holiday. At this time, Lily brightened up. She looked at Samuel and said coyly, "How about sharing a room with me, Junior? There's no need to seek excitement like this. Mainly because I'm not that blind." Maybe my indescribable expression was a bit obvious, so Lily quickly tried to make up for it. "Look at what nonsense I'm talking about. How could the Junior share a room with me? David, why don't you two share a room?" Before I could say a word, Samuel had already spoken slowly. "Then thank you, Senior. I'll cover the room fees for these 2 nights." "Yes." I replied coldly and went upstairs directly with the room card. Whatever. Anyway, everything will end perfectly after 2 days. I'll just be a qualified deaf and blind person for now. But soon I felt a bit lucky. Looking at the boy changing clothes beside the bed, I couldn't help swallowing my saliva. To be fair, his figure is really amazing. He has broad shoulders and long legs with smooth muscles, and the lines extend to the hidden part inside his pants. It's simply a perfect combination of youthfulness and strength, the pinnacle of aesthetics. I want to draw. I really want to draw him. Maybe my gaze was too obvious. Samuel lifted his eyelids and looked at me, smiling. "Senior, why are you staring at me like this?" I pursed my lips and asked him seriously. "Samuel, do you usually go to the gym?" "Not very often." "Then do you often play ball games and exercise?" Samuel raised his eyebrows and teased, "Senior, are you checking my household register?" I coughed lightly, realizing that I was being a bit impolite. "I don't mean to offend. I just think you have a great figure and are suitable to be a model." "Ha!" Samuel paused in the act of putting on his clothes. His eyes flickered for a moment and then disappeared. When I wanted to explain further, he immediately took off his clothes again and then walked towards me. "Really? Then the Senior should take a careful look at me. Maybe I can even make money as a model in this way." The muscle lines gradually became clear, and I couldn't take my eyes off them for a moment. Maybe it was a bit hot and Samuel was a little sweaty. The muscles with water droplets on them were full of vigor. That was the soul, vitality, and wildness. It was something that had always been lacking in my works. I looked up seriously at this handsome Junior. "Samuel, can I touch your muscles?" Samuel's breathing clearly paused for a moment, probably stunned by my words. Then he grabbed my hand and placed it directly on his abs. "Go ahead and touch however you like. I'll cooperate, Senior." He deliberately lowered his voice and enunciated each word. His voice sounded a bit thick, like a smile and also like coaxing. "Thank you." My eyelashes fluttered and I obediently started to move my hands, gently stroking. At that moment, I forgot that this guy was the Junior who might cuckold me at any time. Instead, I saw him as a perfect model, a soul full of vitality. When Samuel went to get dressed, I went to the bathroom to wash my hands and face. It seems that this outing was a happy accident. When touching Samuel's muscles, inspiration kept popping up in my mind like sparks flying. I'm too lazy to think about what this Junior and Lily are up to. My competition work is more important. After barely suppressing that inexplicable restlessness, I slowly walked out. Samuel had changed into a sleeveless top and was lying there playing with his phone. Now the muscle lines of his arms were clearly exposed. "Why are you dressed like this?" "To make it convenient for the Senior to touch me," Samuel said with a smile. "If you're embarrassed because there are many people, I'll come back for you to touch me at night. Don't be in a hurry." "Ayo." Just as I wanted to explain, the door of the room was knocked on by Lily. She was wearing a beautiful dress and urged the two of us to go out quickly. So I stopped talking and didn't say more. The 3 of us went out together for a visit. The sight of 2 men and 1 woman walking together caught the attention of many people. Lily was proud and elated under those envious and jealous looks, full of a sense of showing off. I didn't care, and neither did Samuel. All the way, Lily kept chatting eagerly with Samuel, but Samuel always showed great concern for me. "Junior, this cup of milk tea I just bought is delicious. This pineapple flavored. Do you want to take a sip? Senior, do you want to have a drink? I'll go and buy you a cup. Junior, do you want to use an umbrella? I've brought one. Senior, it's very sunny now. Wear my hat. Junior, Senior." Am I also a part of your two's play? I really felt like I had nothing to live for. I just made up an excuse and went back to my room halfway. I really didn't want to get involved in their tense situation. Taking advantage of the free time, I took out my sketchbook and prepared to practice by drawing a simple sketch. The pencil made a soft rustling sound, but I found it a bit difficult to draw. My mind was full of Samuel's well-defined muscles, and I couldn't concentrate at all. When the body lines of the figure on the drawing paper were slowly being outlined, suddenly a soft laugh came to my ears. It was sudden and scary. The tip of my pencil stopped, and I turned my head in surprise. I found that Samuel had somehow sat down next to me and was looking at me with a smile, tilting his head. "Senior, why are you secretly drawing me? People who don't know might think you have a crush on me." I explained indifferently. "It's just a random sketch of a figure, not you." To prevent him from asking further, I quickly changed the subject. "Aren't you strolling around the characteristic street with Lily? It's not convenient for me to be alone with the senior sister without you. After all, I'm a paragon of male virtue." I blurted out, "Do people like you even have a sense of morality?" Samuel retorted, "What kind of person am I? Does the senior still think I have feelings for the senior sister? Isn't that the case? You even followed us on this trip." The boy smiled, his bare arm pressed against mine, and patiently explained, "I really didn't come for senior sister Lily. You can see that I haven't done anything improper with her along the way, right? Look at the WeChat messages she sent me." I only replied politely, "Senior, you really wronged me." As Samuel spoke, his somewhat mischievous expression just now turned into one of pity, looking just like a puppy that had been wronged. Indeed, in the chat history, it was all Lily's one-sided flattery and seduction. Samuel had always responded coldly. Throughout the journey, it was Lily who had been actively currying favor with him. Instead, he had been more attached to me. I blinked, feeling a bit annoyed. I blamed myself for casually misunderstanding others. Maybe he, like me, had been used as a tool for showing off. "It's my fault. I'm sorry." Samuel pouted and coquettishly said, "Then can the senior give me this painting as compensation? Just paint my face on it." "Sure, but it seems that I'm having a bit of trouble with the painting. Maybe I can't give it to you today." "Why?" "Because I turned my head, looking a bit dejected yet serious, and said, "Because I want to take another look at your abs. I feel that a naked human body would be more perfect. Is that okay?" Samuel was stunned for a moment, then broke into a bright smile. "Of course it's okay." Samuel sat in front of me bare-chested, staring at me intently. His gaze was eager and straightforward. His stare made me feel inexplicably shy. My pen tip would tremble and pause from time to time, and my throat was dry. Why was he looking at me like that? It was as if I was the one being the model at this moment, not him. Fortunately, this kind of sketch was relatively simple. I steadied my mind and quickly finished the painting. I slightly pursed my lips and blew the eraser shavings off the paper. "Okay, it's done." Samuel leaned over to take a look and said, "Senior is so amazing. The first place in the Academy of Fine Arts is really not a joke. I'll definitely treasure this painting. Do as you like." I furtively glanced at his muscles nervously and said, "I'm going to take a shower. Put on your clothes. It's a bit hot. I'll put them on later." Samuel stroked the painting I drew, looking tired and lazy. The air conditioner in the room was set at 19 degrees. Where was it hot? I lowered my eyes and didn't say anything more. When I came out of the shower, Samuel had already put on his clothes, and there were 2 servings of food in front of him. "Senior, you haven't had dinner yet, have you? I've already bought it for you." Samuel smiled cheerfully, as if expecting me to praise him. I stopped in my tracks and took a closer look at the food. Turned out to be my favorite. Too lazy to think, I thanked him and then ate seriously before going to sleep. I took a train in the morning and went on an outing in the afternoon. I was really exhausted both physically and mentally. I fell asleep as soon as I lay down on one side of the bed. In a hazy state of consciousness, I felt that Samuel seemed to have taken a shower too. After a while, I seemed to hear Lily knocking on the door. She was whining and arguing with Samuel about something, but it soon disappeared. The two of them should have gone outside the door to talk. There was still a faint sound of crying. I rubbed my pillow and fell asleep under the quilt. The next day, I was woken up by Lily's knocking on the door. David, are you awake? Why didn't you reply to my WeChat message? David. I turned my head and found that Samuel was no longer in the room. Helplessly, I had to get up and open the door. Seeing me, Lily immediately smiled gently and obediently. Only the corners of her eyes were a little red, as if she had been crying. Her eyes kept bypassing me and glancing into the room. Good morning, David. I was a bit grumpy when I woke up, so I simply said, Samuel isn't here. Lily was taken aback for a moment and said somewhat awkwardly, I'm not looking for him. I'm looking for you. David, actually, I have something to tell you. She forced a smile at me and tried to hold my hand that was hanging by my side. I dodged and asked, What is it? Lily's eyes instantly welled up with tears. Why are you being so distant from me now? Is it because I've been busy taking care of my junior these days and neglected you? So you're angry? David, I don't want to break up with you. Can we get back together? I frowned. Thinking of the vague arguing sounds I heard last night, I understood. Probably Samuel clearly rejected her. The golden duck in the pot flew away, so she could only rush to salvage the food in the bowl. Sorry, we agreed to break up after the trip. That was just something I said out of anger. I can't bear to part with you. I like you so much. As Lily said this, she was about to pounce on me and hug me. But the next second, she was grabbed by the back of her collar and mercilessly pulled away. Samuel stood beside us, smiling. However, that smile didn't reach his eyes. Instead, it was tinged with a hint of coldness. What are you doing, getting physical with each other so early in the morning? Looking at the suddenly appeared Samuel, Lily averted her eyes somewhat. She should be afraid that he would expose her ugly deeds of having two relationships at the same time in front of me. And no, it's nothing. I just talked to David about something. You two should hurry up and get ready. We're going to have a whole day of fun today. Okay, got it. Please wait a moment, senior. I'll have a meal with the other senior first. Samuel put his arm around my shoulder and went back into the room, then closed the door on her. Senior, don't believe her words in the future. She doesn't really like you. She confessed her love to me last night and even wanted to go into my room. I dodged her directly and scolded her for being shameless. Senior, you were asleep and didn't know. She's a female player. He rambled on with his explanation and kept leading me into the room. He was afraid that I would go back to find Lily. This made the sense of strangeness and suspicion in my heart even more prominent. Samuel, why are you helping me? Samuel moved even closer, speaking earnestly. Senior, you're so innocent. I'm afraid you'll be deceived. Not only us, but even my roommate is being led on by her. Aren't you angry and going to break up with her? Does this relationship have to be continued? When he said the last sentence, he seemed to grind his back molars. I explained gently. Thank you, but I just want to have a relationship to find inspiration. I'll break up with her after the trip. Moreover, if it weren't her, there would be someone else. It makes no difference to me who it is. Then find someone else for inspiration. I sighed and said, I don't know who else to choose. Choose me. In my surprised look, he repeated seriously. Senior, would you like to try having a relationship with me? I'll give you all the inspiration you need. Due to being rejected one after another, Lily was listless throughout the day's outing and even showed her disappointment on her face. I was too lazy to comfort her and was busy being in a daze. And Samuel kept staring directly at me with a real burning intensity in his eyes. His stare made me blush and feel awkward and embarrassed. My mind was full of the straightforward words he had said to me this morning. David, there are things that the senior sister can't do, but I can. If you want to touch my abs, you can do it anytime. Anyway, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. Date me. I like you. It turned out that the one he had his eyes on was me. Feeling his still burning gaze on my face, I sighed silently. He really is a troublesome and rebellious puppy. With Lily beside me, I couldn't say much. I could only take out my phone and send a message. Stop looking at me. I'll keep looking. I'm not gay. Senior, neither am I. I just like you and you happen to be a guy. But I don't like guys. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Samuel pause while typing. Just when I thought I had successfully discouraged him, he slowly sent a message. Senior. Did you like anyone before you dated the senior girl? No. Then it means you're not sure whether you like boys or girls. How can you be certain that you don't like boys? I was a bit confused by his words and also had a sudden realization. Well, it seems to make some sense. Maybe I'm not actually straight but a hidden homosexual? The person on the other side took advantage of the situation. So, senior, since you have no inspiration when dating girls, try dating me, a boy, after this trip. I was completely stunned. Slowly, I replied with a message on my phone. Let me think about it. After the trip, the three of us returned to school. Samuel happily pulled his suitcase and went back to the dormitory first, thoughtfully leaving some alone time for Lily and me. His lazy back looked like a happy puppy that had gotten a bone. Probably knowing that it was over, Lily was in a low mood and still tried to hold on. David, is it really impossible for us? Sorry, it's my problem. Why? Did Samuel tell you something? She was extremely nervous. I shook my head indifferently. He didn't say anything. I figured it out on my own. You like excitement, while I'm law-abiding. We just have different pursuits. Lily panicked. David, please listen to my explanation. I didn't do it on purpose. I just thought that. It doesn't matter. I don't mind. If you have professional problems after the breakup, you can also come to me. I'll try my best to help you. I nodded to express my gratitude and then turned around and left without hesitation. Lily called out to me angrily from behind, but I didn't look back. After returning to the dormitory, I distributed the local specialties I had bought to my roommates. Luke asked me with a worried look on his face. David, after this trip with Lily, we broke up. Luke let out a sigh of relief. That's good. Good buddy, don't worry. I'll introduce a nice girl to you later. This time, you'll definitely get sweet love and inspiration. I gave a gentle smile. No need. I probably have a suitable candidate. Ah? Who is it? So soon. I looked down at the boy who had been sending me puppy emojis to act coquettishly. I'll tell you after it's confirmed. Luke gave a sly grin and didn't ask further before going to play games. After I finished packing my luggage, I had a serious chat with Samuel. Your messages have drained my phone's battery. It's because the senior ignored me. I explained. I was just talking to my roommate. Okay, I totally accept this reason. Senior, are you free tomorrow? I looked at my class schedule. I have a full schedule tomorrow morning. I have to go to the art studio in the afternoon. I'll be free in the evening. Then I'll pick you up at the art studio. How about we go for dinner and watch a movie together in the evening? Okay. Samuel pestered me to chat for a long time. Rarely, I didn't go to paint but accompanied him for the whole night. I have to say that this feeling is quite novel. The boy's words clearly revealed his straightforward affection for me, without any schemes or self-interest. It made me unconsciously want to indulge him and tolerate him, then give it a try. Anyway, I have no other good ideas. Looking at the boy who sweetly said good night to me, I also sent him an emoji. In the studio, the teacher looked at my new painting with a pleased expression. David, your painting has changed. It has a soul, vitality, and a bit of wildness. Have you encountered anything recently? I smiled and said, I've met an interesting person. The teacher understood. Then try to spend more time with this person. Don't restrain yourself, and you'll get more inspiration. I will. I curved my eyes, feeling light-hearted. As the sun was setting, many students left the art studio to have dinner. I wasn't in a hurry to leave. I sat there quietly, continuing to paint and waiting for Samuel by the way. Not long after the noisy sounds in the corridor faded away, a slow footsteps sounded. After I finished this part of the painting, I lifted my eyelids and looked towards the door. Samuel was leaning against the doorframe of the studio, staring straight at me with a gloomy look in his eyes. The weather in early autumn was abnormal. Suddenly, it rained and the temperature dropped sharply. The boy was wearing a thin black windbreaker with the collar turned up to his chin, looking effortlessly handsome. I inexplicably felt that he was a bit familiar, but I couldn't remember where I had seen him before. Why don't you come in? I got lost in watching the senior draw for a moment. He replied to me lazily. I felt a bit embarrassed and looked away to continue painting. Could you wait for me for a few minutes? It's okay. Take your time. I'll wait for you no matter how long it takes. After saying that, without disturbing me, he pulled up a chair and quietly sat beside me. His gaze shifted from the paintbrush to my hand, then swept across my ear, and finally landed on my Adam's apple. It was so flirtatious and ambiguous that my hand holding the paintbrush trembled, and then trembled again. I looked back at him angrily and gave him a glare, saying, "Can you stop looking at me? No, I like the senior, so I want to look at the senior." His appearance makes me have to suspect that if I were to slap him right now, he would even lick my hand. I didn't know how to refute him for a moment. Ashamed, I put away the paintbrush and paint. Not painting anymore? Not painting anymore. With you here, I can't calm my mind down. I angrily packed my backpack and left, but Samuel followed with a smile. He kept pestering me to talk. "Senior, I was wrong. It's my fault that I made you feel restless. Senior, can I carry your backpack for you? Brother, pay attention to me. If you ignore me, can I give you a kiss? But you have to take responsibility if I kiss you. Listen, is this something a person would say?" I stopped in my tracks and turned to scold him softly. "Samuel, be more serious." The boy gently nudged the tip of my shoe with his own and then leaned his face towards me with a smiling face. "Where am I being unserious? You're 2 years older than me. Isn't it quite normal to call you brother? Brother David, In a hurry, I covered his mouth with my hand and said, "You're so annoying." "Shut up." Instead of being upset after being scolded by me, he just curved his eyes, with the affection in his eyes being straightforward and undisguised. It made my face flush and my heart race. Suddenly, Lily's surprised voice rang out. "David, Samuel? What are you two doing?" My heart tightened and I quickly withdrew my hand and turned to look at Lily. She also studies at the Academy of Fine Arts, so it's natural for her to be around the studio. At this moment, she was looking at me and Samuel in shock. I briefly explained, "We're just talking about something." "What kind of things do you need to talk about so intimately? It's okay to call him brother, but why do you get so close? By the way, when did you two become so close?" I didn't know how to explain it to her for a moment. The spare tire she had chosen was now being affectionate with me and I was her ex-boyfriend. Oh, it's so complicated. It was so complicated that I suddenly had the idea of backing off. Actually, the two of us. But the next second, Samuel suddenly grabbed my wrist and wiped the palm of my hand with the cuff of his windbreaker. The movement was gentle and meticulous. He didn't care at all about Lily's almost distorted and incredulous expression. "Senior, did I just lick the palm of your hand?" "I don't think so." "I should have. I could even taste the paint on your palm." I blinked and chose not to pull my hand away. I let him be intimate with me. Lily asked in a voice that was almost gnashing her teeth. "What are you two doing, licking each other? Are you playing with me?" "David, no wonder you're so cold to me. So you've had your eye on Samuel for a long time. You disgusting gay." This time, Samuel spoke up impatiently. "Senior sister, I'm the one pursuing David now. I've had a crush on him for many years. If you have any issues, come at me. But I advise you to mind your own business. You like him. So you came on this trip before because of him? And not because of..." She didn't finish her sentence as if she realized something. "Because of what?" "Because of you. Do you really think I'm a fish in your pond that you failed to catch?" Samuel scoffed, his eyes cold. "I thought someone like you would tuck your tail between your legs and hide after being exposed rather than daring to stand here and question me. So, senior sister, if you dare to blabber about me and senior's business, I guarantee that your own affairs will be known to the whole school before ours. Just try it." Lily left staggering, her face as white as a sheet. Samuel turned his head and hooked my hand with a smile. There was no trace of the cold look he had just had. "Senior, let's go have a meal. I'm so hungry." I didn't move but asked him, "What do you mean by having liked me for many years? Did we know each other before?" "It's a secret. I'll tell you after the movie." Samuel was being mysterious, which really piqued my curiosity. He's only a freshman and has only been at school for a little over a month. The rice noodle shop was the first time I saw him. Where did he have a long-standing plan for me? I racked my brains but still couldn't figure it out, so I simply waited for him to reveal the answer after the movie. After dinner, we went to the cinema outside the university town. We watched a movie selected by Samuel, a youth romance film. I thought a hot-blooded boy like him would at least choose to watch sci-fi or war movies, but I didn't expect such a fresh and gentle movie. However, I wasn't picky and sat beside him at the back watching the movie. The movie tells the love story of a boy who falls in love with the painting girl next door. He secretly watches her back every day, works hard on his own, and finally successfully pursues his goddess after many years. I originally watched it just for entertainment, but when I saw the male lead's eyes peeping at the studio door, I seemed to remember something. During the intensive training in my senior year of high school, there seemed to be a boy who looked at me like that. He was probably 2 or 3 years younger than me. He wore shabby school uniforms, was extremely thin, and there were traces of domestic violence on his face. It seemed that his family lived in the basement downstairs of the studio, so I always saw him. The classmates in the studio all avoided him. I felt a bit sorry for him. Every day, I would buy him some food, apply medicine on his wounds, and even tutor this underachiever with his homework. I told him to study hard and said that he would be free after getting into college. He hoarsely said okay. After getting familiar with each other, he started calling me brother and often waited for me at the studio door. He looked at me longingly, his eyes full of dependence. Those dark and bright eyes traveled through time and unexpectedly matched perfectly with Samuel's. I was shocked and turned my head in disbelief to look at the boy beside me. He lazily raised his eyebrows. "Brother, what's the matter?" I suddenly realized. So it was you. After the movie ended, Samuel led me out of the screening hall. I remember I didn't see you when I went back to the training studio after the college entrance examination. The studio teacher said you were picked up by someone. What happened? Only then did the boy slowly tell me what happened that year. He was maliciously taken away by someone when he was a child, and those evil people became his parents. In short, he had a very hard time all the time. He didn't eat well, didn't dress well, and was also bullied at school. Many times he almost wanted to turn on the gas tank and just die. I was the first person who showed kindness to him. He always kept it in mind. When I went back to school to make up for the cultural courses, he was found by his biological parents. The evil people paid the price, and he began to desperately change himself under the love of his biological parents. He hoped to appear in front of me in a better state. Unexpectedly, when he just wanted to get close to me when he came to college, he found that I had a girlfriend. So he could only be a bit shameless and act like a male green tea. So I wanted to break you up from the very beginning. David, am I very bad? I wanted to say yes, but I couldn't say it out. Because I could imagine how hard it was for him to come in front of me. From being as thin as a skeleton to having 8-pack abs, from being a poor student to getting into University A, from being that shy and pitiful little boy to being so energetic now. It's very difficult. So difficult that it made my heart soft. Not bad. You've always been great. In the crowded cinema, I took the initiative to hug him. Probably sensing my soft heartedness towards him, Samuel began to pursue me more directly. Acting coquettishly towards me, openly showing jealousy, clinging to me, saying he misses me, and affectionately hooking my hand. Luke quickly sensed something and was quite surprised. But he didn't say much and went to play games with a confused look on his face. Of course, Lily saw us a few times during this period. She didn't look at us more but dodged away shiveringly. Luke told me that the thing about her being a female player was exposed on the internet by an unlucky guy. Now netizens are scolding her, and even the counselor and the department head have talked to her several times asking her to behave herself. I was too lazy to care and buried myself in painting. In my mind was the ambiguous scene from last night when Samuel deliberately held my hand and let me touch his abs. He claimed it was to help me find inspiration. Soul, vitality. It is the vibrant energy hidden in a boy's beautiful body, the perseverance when bamboo shoots emerge after the rain, and the liveliness when travelers from all over the world gather together. My heart beats rapidly and my brush strokes never stop. My mind is full of colorful and vibrant pictures. The teacher walked over, patted me on the shoulder, and said with relief, "David, you've painted very well. It seems you've broken through the bottleneck. Getting along with that person has made you stop being complacent. He has saved you." I smiled faintly and said I think so. Samuel's appearance was unexpected and absurd, which really took people by surprise. But he has decorated my dull life with all kinds of colors. I thought for a while and took out my phone. "What are you doing?" Samuel replied instantly. "I'm having a class. Does the senior miss me?" "Yes. I'll come to you right away. You're in the art studio at this time, right? Wait for me. Right now." I have to hear you say this in person and I must record it. I was amused and quickly stopped him. Come after class. I just want to tell you something. It's time to make a conclusion about the relationship between you and me. There was a moment of silence on the other side. Senior, you're not going to reject me, are you? No. I sent a sticker. I think our relationship should enter a new stage. Samuel, let's date. Samuel didn't reply to me anymore. I guess that he might be stunned holding his phone at this moment. Don't urge him to reply. Let him react slowly. Just 2 minutes later, a sneaky figure suddenly appeared at the door of the studio. He lay on the small window of the door, looking at me eagerly with a little sweat on his forehead. It's obvious that he skipped class and rushed over. He's a bit silly, yet there's a kind of unrestrained charm about him. This look of his made me burst into a bright smile. I waved my phone at him and he quickly looked down. Wait for me for 10 minutes until I finish class and then let's go on a date. Forgot to say, Samuel, actually I've always had a deep impression of you. Because no one knows that I was attracted to him the first time I saw him in the rice noodle shop. Later, I was touched by his intense and straightforward preference and gradually fell for him.